Hi, 1 and 2-year-old leaders. We are preparing for November 4th. We are in our series called The Promise, and in our promise, we are looking at the genealogy of Abraham leading all the way to Jesus. We're not going to quite get to Jesus in all of the genealogy with Abraham, but we are going to get to Jesus because Christmas is coming, so we'll get the chance to talk about that around the Christmas story as well. This week, we are concentrating on God's promise to Isaac. Remember, Abraham was given a promise that his family was going to be as vast as the stars in the sky, and he provided Isaac as his son, even made a way for Isaac to continue to be the one that would be of the lineage of Jesus. By providing a ram at the sacrifice instead of Isaac. And then last week we looked at how Isaac was promised a wife, and they found that wife, and she was the one who offered water to the camels. And so now Isaac is finding himself in the same place as Father Abraham was, asking God for a son, or for a son. And so God answered and gave them twin boys. And this is where Jacob and Esau come into the story. And God told Rebekah that the two babies in your belly will grow up to be two nations. The older will serve the younger, which is not typical in this time. In that time frame, and even in families today, typically the older brother is the one who takes the head of the household. But God had a design even then, and we'll see that next week as we talk about Esau and Jacob and where this happened. They named them Esau and Jacob, and many years later there was a famine when no food would grow. Isaac thought about going to Egypt where there was food. God spoke to Isaac and told him to stay in the land that I've given you, and I will bless you and be with you. The promise I gave to your father Abraham, I give to you and your children. Isaac obeyed God and stayed in the land God had promised him. All of this needed to happen, remember, because of this promise. So we're setting the stage for the promise of Jesus coming at Christmas soon. Your small group activity for this week is like red light, green light. And I know you have 1-year-olds and you have 2-year-olds, but they love to play and they love for you to play with them. So try as best you can to see if they will play red light, green light with you. Your 1-year-olds are probably not going to stop, but that's kind of the fun in all of it, is just laughing together and being silly together and giving them a reason to laugh with you. As you are playing stop and go, you can help kids remember that God made a promise to Isaac. At first, Isaac wanted to go to Egypt, but God told him to stay, and Isaac trusted God and his promises. And so Isaac had to find himself in the place of trusting God, just like his father Abraham had to go through it with Isaac. Now Isaac is trusting God with his sons Esau and Jacob. And even though he doesn't see a way out of this, God knows there's a way coming. Your memory verse is if you belong to Christ, you grasp your hands together, then you will become Abraham's seed. You're going to ball up into a little bitty ball and grow with the kids like a seed would, and heirs according to the promise, pointing to God, that we are heirs according to God's promise because we belong to Christ, or when we belong to Christ in many of these kids' instances. You have a coloring page this week again. And the coloring pages are there just so that there's an extra activity to actually send home. Since your red light and green light activity you won't send home, I would encourage you though that if you did play that activity with the kids, to share with the parents what the kids did and how it made you laugh, or maybe praise a kid for actually following directions and those kind of things. And then they can take their coloring sheet home, or you can have them sit and color it while you do your prayer and snack time. Thank you so much for loving on babies and taking such great care of them. We know our littlest ones are sponges, and they're beginning to build relationships with you. And when they build relationships with you, then you are setting the stage for people many years to come to help introduce them to the truths of the Bible and to show them who Jesus is. Many of them as a continuation of what you've started now. Thank you for everything you do. If you ever need me for anything, please reach out. Talk to you soon.